Hello, crypto boys and ghouls. Welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play-to-earn games on the blockchain, such as Splinterlands. And today we have a very special video for you. If you are a fan of Splinterlands and want to know what the impact of the Genesis League Soccer or Genesis League Sports could have on SPS, well, this is the video for you. We're going to break some interesting information down for you. And if you thought the land videos that we've had recently were interesting, well, this will be right up your alley as well. So again, what we're going to be talking about today is essentially, will sports NFTs take SPS to the moon? And that's a valid question, because if you look at the recent announcement between the MLSPA and Splinterlands around Genesis League Soccer, specifically here, the group that Splinterlands has partnered with is One Team Partners. And I want to call your attention to this specific line here in the press release. And it basically states that One Team represents a range of commercial business interests on behalf of the athletes of the NFL, Major League Baseball, MLS, U.S. Women's National Team, WNBA, NWSL, U.S. Rugby, and League of Legends. So there's some big names there represented in some big sports, specifically NFL and Major League Baseball. Also, those are huge, huge audiences that have potential here. And we're going to come back to why this is relevant here in just a little bit. So just park those names there. And what I also want to share, what Agrode had as the vision for Genesis League Sports, kind of set the table here. We've got the MLSPA game here with different game modes of manager, fantasy, and prediction brackets kind of outlined. But you look here at the overarching structure of Genesis League Sports, and the vision here is to have baseball, basketball, soccer/football, American football, and hockey as the kind of portfolio of games in this ecosystem moving forward. And it's really an important point that I think a lot of folks may be sleeping on. And I want to put it into perspective when it comes to competition in the NFT digital market, not just specifically gaming in general, but more specific to NFTs in the blockchain, and what it could mean for SPS and ultimately Splinterlands players that hold SPS, because we know there's going to be a Genesis League Sports airdrop to SPS stakers, for example. So the first thing I want to share with you is competition. So rare. You may or may not be familiar with this NFT blockchain project. It actually has right now already football, international football as a sport right now, with cards and collectibles on the blockchain, as well as Major League Baseball that are officially licensed by the players. And we can see their model is collect digital cards, build lineups, and enter contests and compete to win. And that's pretty impressive. It's already running. We have 280 officially licensed football clubs and all 30 Major League Baseball clubs here, essentially represented in an NFT game that's already live. Additionally, in the NFT marketplace right now for sports collectibles, we have NBA Top Shot. And NBA Top Shot here represents the NBA and the WNBA. You can see here they have their drop rates for their NFTs, which are legendary, rare, fandom, and common. And you can see they have their packs available for sale here. And roughly, I think a common pack is $9, I think is what the pricing is on the starter packs here to get started. And you can see here on the marketplace, they have their commons that are selling anywhere from $2 to $82. I saw maybe like, it was 10 minutes ago, a $3,500 card that was sold. So there's volume happening here in the marketplace on NBA Top Shot, you can see here, basically they have crafting challenges where you basically collect certain cards or moments, and then you get the benefit of getting minted a new NFT as part of that kind of chase, right, or crafting challenge. So I'm not an expert on NBA Top Shots or So Rare personally. I actually haven't used either of these platforms, but I think it's important to note that they exist, they're live, they're functional, and they look very polished. And this is the area where Splinterlands will be competing in. And what I want to call your attention to specifically is some background around So Rare and Dapper Labs. Dapper Labs is the owner of the NBA Top Shot project. So you can see this was a news or a press release from September 22nd of last year. So kind of at the height of kind of the NFT surge last year. And we can see here that So Rare raised $680 million in funding to expand their fantasy sports NFT marketplace. And according to this article, this funding valued the Paris-based startup at $4.3 billion. And at the time, So Rare only had international football NFTs at the time. They did not have the MLB partnership announced or the game announced. Now this is $4.3 billion in September of last year. I mean, maybe that's much less. Maybe it's half of that. But to put it into perspective, if we look at Splinterlands market cap right now, it's under $62 million. So what does that mean? If you compare Splinterlands to So Rare, that's a 69x difference between the peak So Rare valuation at $4.3 billion and the current market cap of Splinterlands at $62 million. So what does that mean at a 69x? It means that if somehow Genesis League Soccer and Genesis League Sports were to increase the value of the SPS token over time just by its association with the Genesis League Sports platform, that means that SPS at its current price of around 7 cents in the future at that valuation of So Rare would be $4.97 per SPS token. So that's almost $5 a token for SPS. And obviously that is a huge price. In fact, if you go back to our node modeling calculations previously, to put that into perspective, SPS value at in the range of $5 puts us squarely in the tranche 4 node license valuation, somewhere in the middle of tranche 4 and 5. And that's with kind of like that 12-month ROI on nodes as kind of the baseline calculation there. So that's very, very impressive. But what I want to also share with you here, and going back to the one team partnership, is in May of 2022, after this was, I guess, 8 months after the extra, was it $680 million that So Rare gained to expand fantasy sports NFTs. 8 months later, they announced the Major League Baseball Players Association partnership with one team as well, and launched their baseball game. So it took 8 months after that funding came in, and basically they expanded upon their MLSPA and their different football leagues and added Major League Baseball to their portfolio. So just, I guess, to put that into perspective, again, with the one team relationship, it makes sense, again, for the partnership with Splinterlands to start with something like the MLSPA, which So Rare has done previously, and expand into something like Major League Baseball or NFL or hockey or other things like that as a result of a successful launch of Genesis League Soccer potentially. And let's say Genesis League Soccer comes out in October of this year. We'll add 8 months to that maybe, and perhaps Genesis League Baseball could be a thing. So that would be roughly June of next year if we look at the SoRare timelines, and that's very exciting. What I also want to share with you is just some details here. This is from a website called Market Realist, and I'll provide links to all of these websites should you care to do your own research and look into this. But here's what's interesting. Looking at SoRare as a company, they were founded in 2018, which, surprise, surprise, that's around the same time Splinterlands also was founded. And they have a partnership, as is listed here, with the Major League Players Association and 180 football clubs, including Real Madrid, Liverpool, and it reportedly has 600,000 registered users on its platform. Well, we know Splinterlands has, well, certainly close to that, because at the peak, remember, Splinterlands had 500,000 daily active users. Now, granted, a lot of those are bots, but it's unknown how many of these 600,000 SoRare accounts could be bots as well. We don't know that. And what it's interesting to note here is that they've had over $150 million worth of cards traded since January. And I believe this is from January 2021. So to put that into perspective, we don't have the exact revenue numbers for cards bought and sold on the Splinterlands market, but I can tell you that since I've joined in August of last year, the market volume here on a 24-hour basis has sometimes fluctuated between, let's say, 110,000 and let's say 50,000 a day. So if you were to do some quick math there, let's just say the average is, be conservative, $60,000 in market revenue on the card market, not including rentals, just the card sale market. You times that over a year, that's 21.9 million. Times that over, let's say, since, again, it may not be conservative if we take previous years, but let's times that by 4 years in the business. That's roughly 87.6 million in revenue in NFTs that Splinterlands may have sold. We don't know. I don't know if they've officially published any numbers here around Splinterlands numbers, but again, we're in the ballpark of SoRare here. And what I wanted to share with you is some data on the SoRare token and its NFT data here in just a second. I just want to, I guess, share with you this article here, showing the growth here. Monthly active players growing by 34 times in Q1, and then Q2 increasing 51 times. And then you can see here, I guess, let's see. You can see here some details on the NFT market in general. In 2021, the second quarter had $2.5 billion in sales of NFTs. Talks a little bit about Top Shots here as well. And it's probably a good article to read. Again, I'll leave a link to this MetaBeat article should you be curious to read it. But again, I want to compare projects like SoRare and Top Shot, NBA Top Shot, to Splinterlands, so you can see the valuations and the differences between the two companies to see where this could lead Splinterlands. So specifically, if we look at the Twitter of SoRare, today, actually, August 16th, 2022, they just announced a influencer collaboration. Fabrizio Romano joins SoRare as an exclusive content partnership. Now, I'm not familiar with Fabrizio Romano. I'm guessing he's someone popular in the football world, perhaps. If you look at his data here, he actually has 11 million followers on Twitter, which is quite a bit. So I would say if you were to give an advantage to either Splinterlands or SoRare on the content creator side, well, this content creator has roughly 11 million more followers than I have, and certainly quite a bit million more than perhaps our largest content partnership in Ali Straza. So SoRare is doing some big things here, it looks like, with content creators. But again, what I'm trying to illustrate here is that Splinterlands and Chatter have already started to put sponsorships around content creators in place and influencers bringing more eyes to the game. You can see here that this video has already received 179,000 views and 9,032 likes, and it just came out today. So we can see probably something similar here on the horizon with Genesis League Soccer and Genesis League Sports moving forward. What I also want to share is some of the market realist information around Dapper Labs. Specifically here, what I wanted to share is some of the details for Dapper Labs. So Dapper Labs owns NBA Top Shot. It also owns CryptoKitties. And it's also like So Rare. All of its NFTs are on the Ethereum blockchain, so ERC20 NFTs. And they also have projects coming up here like Dr. Seuss NFTs. And what's interesting that I want to share, in addition to information on those projects other than NBA Top Shots, in February, they secured a $250 million funding round for Dapper Labs, being a private company, and puts them at an approximate $2 billion valuation as a private company. Again, $250 million in funding. Again, the market cap of Splinterlands is under 62 million. So that funding itself is 4 times the market cap of Splinterlands. And then the valuation of Dapper Labs or NBA Top Shots is $2 billion. So that's a 32x valuation of Splinterlands and Genesis League Sports. And if you do that valuation and extend it to Splinterlands in the future, that would actually have SPS token pricing at $2.30. So these are some interesting valuations. Again, over $4 billion for So Rare, $2 billion for Dapper Labs, and then you have little old Splinterlands here where we're just hanging out at 62 million. And you can see why, I'm personally so very excited about this partnership and what it could mean for SPS and the overall user base, not only for Splinterlands, but for Genesis League Sports. So this is pretty exciting stuff. I wanted to also share here with you some details around So Rare. This comes from OpenSea, and I'll just put a little, asterisk or preface around my information here around So Rare and NBA Top Shots. Again, like I mentioned, I don't even have an ID in any of these games. I don't have an account. I haven't played any of them. I haven't bought any assets in any of them. So basically, just the information I'm sharing with you today is just based on research that I've done today. And if there are those that are educated and have experience with So Rare or NBA Top Shots, please leave it in the comment section below so you can share with the community your experience, your knowledge. And if I've gotten any of this data wrong, please also correct me as well, because again, I'm not an expert on things outside of Splinterlands. But just to share with you on OpenSea here, you can see there's over 330,000 NFTs minted for So Rare between Major League Baseball and the football clubs. There's 17,000 owners, or essentially 17,000 users of So Rare NFTs. And their total volume for the project, at least on OpenSea, is 50,000 ETH. So if we take ETH value, let's say at 1,800, the total volume of sales, looks like lifetime on OpenSea, is roughly $90 million. And if you look at that number, that's also very similar to the number we talked about with Splinterlands if we kind of extrapolated Splinterlands card market valuation or card market revenue. So again, we're seeing a lot of similarities between the two projects. What I will say is some of the data didn't make sense to me though when I looked at So Rare. For example, the 90-day average price is 0.02 Ethereum. So let's say if we take 1,800, 0.02. So the average price is $36 for an NFT. The floor price is actually pretty low. I think it's around $7 is what I saw earlier on the market. It says here $18, but I think it's more around $7. And here's the crazy thing. The 90-day volume on So Rare, at least within OpenSea's market. Now, granted, this could be similar to comparing Splinterlands volume on Atomic Hub or the Wax market, the secondary market. So it's probably not their total volume, but at least their external volume is quite low. Their 3-month volume for So Rare NFTs on OpenSea is 10.3 ETH, which is roughly $18,540. Again, Splinterlands is doing on a daily basis on the in-game market over $50,000 in revenue. So again, we'd have to probably log in and create an account on So Rare to see what their in-game market volume is. I'm guessing it's much higher than here on OpenSea. But again, just some data to look at as you're evaluating the projects, the differences, the similarities between, for example, Splinterlands, GLS, So Rare, and NBA Top Shot. So that's what I wanted to talk about with you today. Again, will sports NFTs take SPS to the moon? Well, I think it has the potential. I think it definitely will add value to SPS in the long term. We'll see how much. But if So Rare and Dapper Labs valuations have anything similar to Splinterlands in the future, if they're in the same breath or same discussion, well, then you're looking at anywhere potentially between a 32x to a 69x on the valuation of the SPS token for Splinterlands, which is, well, quite good if you're here at Splinterlands and in the game right now. So let me know in the comments section below what you think of this. What are your thoughts on Genesis League Soccer, on Genesis League Sports as a platform? And again, if information like this is beneficial for you and you like to see sneak peeks of this and get more timely updates from myself, feel free to check out my members section here on YouTube. And until next time, keep stacking those stats.
That's entertainment.